Hey everybody, it's Tammy, and we have about 2 minutes before we start today's broadcast. I wanted to give you a couple of minutes. A lot of you have gone over to the dark side, which is Zoom, so you're not really familiar that much with GoToWebinar, but you will see a control panel on your screen, and there's where you can make all your adjustments, including selecting the microphone that you wish to use. We may unmute some of you later. Hi, Jess-Todtfeld. How are you doing? Hi, Jess. I can't hear you. Are you unmuted?
There
Let
we
me
go.
unmute you.
Unmuted.
Okay,
Yes.
you're muted. Yes. So Jess is on the call, and I've already started like the beginning of the broadcast. I was telling everyone that's on the call how to use their GoToWebinar control panel. Yay. So
Yes.
yes, make sure that you have any other sources of audio turned down, or you're going to get that really annoying feedback if you're using headsets and or your laptop. And those adjustments can be made in the audio screen. Everybody's going to be muted unless we decide that we're going to call on you, right, Jess? We might ask you to contribute to the conversation. We may not. Who knows?
We'll have as much fun with it as we can.
We are
And you
going to
can
have
hear
fun
me,
with
am
it.
I right?
Yes, and I'm going to hit the record button in just a second because it is 10:59, and so I'm going to hit the record button. Oh no, it's already recording, so we're good. We're good. So hello everybody. People are just coming into the room. Jess, this is Tammy DeLu. I want to thank Jess-Todtfeld for joining us all the way from New York. He's joining us from New York. You know, I mean, the magic of technology. Hopefully, are you guys like less locked down there now?
We're getting, yes, way less lockdown. We're getting close. A lot of vaccines being given out. So we're about to be on the other side of all this stuff. We're very excited to make more business happen in life.
Yes, and that's what we're going to do today is going to hopefully give you some ideas. And Jess, what we're going to try to do is kind of look at some weird things that people are doing for marketing that are actually working, some unusual and some old school stuff that is also working. And it's so funny how trends come back around. And I'll show you a mullet a little bit later. I don't think you'd look great with a mullet though, Jess. Sorry.
I'm going to reveal to our audience today that I once had a mullet in high school, but I didn't know it was a mullet until I saw an old picture. And apparently I had an achy breaky mullet.
Oh, well, you're going to love the slides today then. So welcome everybody as you gather into the room. This is, if you just floated in off the internet, you might not know that we're going to talk about creating lead flow by what I call amplification. And it's funny because I got some sort of, there's a post on LinkedIn, I think. Oh, it was a post from Steve D'Angelo. And he is like the godfather of the cannabis industry in California, especially. And he was saying, thank you, Rolling Stone magazine, for amplifying our message. And so I thought that was reminding me that we're talking about how to take what you're already doing, fix what's broken, don't throw it away, and perhaps amplify it a little bit. Because, you know, the days of, remember in the early internet days, Jess, when you could put anything up, you could put stick figures up on the internet and you'd get 1 million views. You know, it was just the way it was. Seriously, my favorite website was Stick Figure Death Theater back in those olden days. So hopefully everyone can see my screen. Again, make your adjustments now. I'm gonna jump right into it. And Jess, I'll have you comment. I'll just, I'll cue you up, okay? Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay, so today I actually have a sponsor. You didn't know that, Jess, but the lovely Teresa Kuhn, who is a financial gurus. She's sponsoring today's podcast. You can go to livingwealthyfinancial.com. You can look her up in Google. She's one of my success stories as far as getting her name all over the place. And it really does help her close more sales. So she's sponsoring today. This is an opt-in page. She's focused down. She really likes to work with dentists. So we just made this dental page for her, and it's doing really well. This is the lead magnet, Jess, on that page. Did I lose your camera? Are you still there on the camera? I don't see you. Or did you turn yourself off?
You don't see me. I switched to a different webcam that's supposed to be a little bit fancier, and you can't see me. Then I will have to switch back.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, this debonair young man is Jess-Todtfeld, and he's going to be helping me today by providing some of his insights. He is a Guinness World Record holder. He'll probably tell you about that a little bit later. He's also produced a lot of television segments and programs and podcasts. He's got his fingers in lots of pies when they let him out of his little cubicle room. He also runs the Lead Generation Mastermind. And one of the reasons we're doing this webinar today is to let you know about the Lead Generation Mastermind, which you can join until we hit a cutoff point. You can join it for free. And after that, it's going to be a little fee to participate, but you're going to be with other business owners. And tell them a little bit, Jess, about the kind of people that are going to be on the mastermind, because it's really a very valuable thing, I think.
Yeah, one thing that Tammy said to me years ago was there's one consistent thing across all of your various clients and the people who show up on webinars is people want leads. It's the lifeblood of what we all do so that we can go and try to make sales, that we can use those sales tools, but we need to have leads. And there's so many interesting ways to find new leads. So I started this thing called Lead Generation Mastermind, and it's a private community. It's not on Facebook. It's not on LinkedIn. It's on its own platform where people are sharing lead generation ideas and helping each other. And there's content, including today, right now. And I see there's a link that you have on the screen. And this is a community that we're going to start charging for, except for the people today. So you have an opportunity to go over there and get membership before we start charging, and then you'll already be in. But if you like lead generating ideas, we're going to share some today. And of course, it's an extension of what we're doing over there. And I appreciate you putting one of the shots of me up with all the media logos, because that's one of the ways I also help people in the business I've been in for the last 15 years, which is helping people to get on TV and radio and print and showing up in more places. Because if we have more visibility and the social proof, that third-party credibility from others, we can make more things, good things happen, and more sales.
Perfect. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because Seth Godin said, if you're in a crowded marketplace, just fitting in with everyone else is not the same. I mean, it's basically being invisible. You're basically killing yourself if you can't find ways to stand out. So if you're on the call today, it's probably because of this. Now, I'm not going to even speculate as to what is in this pipe, okay? But I will tell you that I've been dealing with pipe issues for the last 3 months in my house. And amusing things and not so amusing things happened. But I can tell you, when your pipeline clogs in any part of the pipe, it affects the entire house. And that's the same way with your marketing. So if you're here today because you can't figure out how to get that pipeline flowing smoothly, the solution is not Roto-Rooter or whatever. It's not marketing mullets. Now, Jess was talking about mullets. He had a mullet like on the left, right? Billy Ray Cyrus. On the right is actually a new mullet. Mullets have apparently become popular again. I'm not sure why. It's probably COVID related. Everything seems to be these days. But the point is, some of the things you thought were passé in marketing have actually come back around. They've come full circle. And most of the time, it's just a matter of taking what you have and tweaking it, updating it, making it more efficient. And that is going to create more stickiness, with your prospects, and hopefully turn them into clients. So marketing, again, is letting the world know that you're here and you're different. And Jess, you probably could speak to this. So many people create great content and nobody ever sees it. Nobody knows.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I was talking about as far as visibility. It's many of us have heard the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your activities are, I mean, everything, life breaks down to an 80-20 breakdown, but 20% of all the stuff might be most of the value and what's important. And what about the other 80%? It all breaks down into that. So sometimes we have to do 100 things to figure out where it falls in the 80-20, and visibility is a big piece of it.
It absolutely is. And so, I've gone to so many podcasts that were excellent, exceptional content, and they had 13 views or 13 listens. I'm like, why? So content is great, but what happens next after you've created content, the visibility part, the amplification part, that's the most important thing that I found. And here's some great examples from Hollywood, okay? And I know all of you in the audience, you've probably watched a movie and you went, that was a great movie. Why doesn't anyone else know about it? On the left, we have the iconic Fight Club with Brad Pitt. Now, when that was first released, it was a dud. It was a bomb at the box office, and it took a long time and a lot of word of mouth before it became this sort of cult film, right? Because it had very poor publicity, and the studio heads who work for these large corporations, they sometimes don't listen to the directors, and they just do their own kind of publicity. And so, because it was done very poorly, it didn't make any money at the box office. On the right-hand side is a movie called The Master. If you haven't seen it, excellent. It makes the list of the top 100 movies in the last 20 years. But it bombed at the box office. It cost $32 million to make. They ended up only raking in about $16 million, and it's Joaquin Phoenix, great performance, just an awesome movie. Again, it was the victim of not being amplified, not being visible to enough people, and it was also a poor timing. You know, they decided to release it when all these other blockbuster films were released at the same time. So again, you can have great art, you can have great content, but nobody's seeing it. So what is amplified marketing? Well, think of it as a force multiplier, which is just simply, it's like you know the example of the fire hose where, you know, the water's flowing from one end and then it gets down to the nozzle and the nozzle amplifies it. And, you know, hopefully you're not just spewing it out into the universe without any kind of focus, but it does take your efforts and make them a lot more effective. So there's some common amplifiers that we're going to talk about today that anyone can use. This is not about you buying something from me or buying a system or installing a new software. It's about taking some things you may already have and amplifying them. So some of you, a lot of businesses, and Jess probably could attest to this, the commoditization effect can ruin your business. And that is simply where people say, well, dry cleaners, I can go anywhere, or, you know, I can buy that product anywhere. I can get it off Amazon. You know, all financial advisors are the same. Insurance, I can go on eSurance. You know, you've heard all these things, but it's happening to more and more industries, believe it or not. Even some industries we thought were untouchable. Correct, Jess? Do you see that?
Absolutely. I muted myself for a second. And that's it. We can't be a commodity. We have to constantly be showing up. This is what we're talking about today, in different ways, in unique ways, and taking something that once worked and just putting it in a new place and doing it differently.
Absolutely. So we wanted to show you some things that you can do today. So let's you know who Jess is. I'm Tammy DeLue. Some of you know me, some of you don't. Some of you wish you didn't. You know, I've been doing this since 2004, helping mostly financial advisors and insurance agents because I was one. But now I've branched out into real estate and a lot of other businesses because here's the thing. Small business gets treated very shabbily. And if you own a small business, you know that's true. I want to help small business owners rise above all the things that are thrown in their path that that threaten to make them commodities. You know, you can't let the big guys have everything. So you're going to learn from our mistakes today. And trust me, in all these years, the 17 years I've been doing this, I've made a ton of them. So learn and don't repeat my mistakes. As I said, amplification is force multiplication. We are not asking you to reinvent any wheels. We're asking you to take a fresh look at perhaps things you've already done before. Because I live in California and we are all about the recycle, Jess. We want to revisit, repurpose, and repeat, perhaps, some of the things you did that were successful. So if something is working, in my opinion, you don't want to mess with it too much, but you do want to boost it. So, Jess, look at this is from the old days when people didn't wear a mask. Look, there's no social distancing there. There's no.
Everybody's that food is just filled with respiratory droplets.
Oh yeah, there's nobody running around with a cloth and a sanitizers spraying every surface. This was in the
Later,
old
they're
days.
all going to blow out candles on a birthday cake.
Exactly. Right across
just
from each other. Right across from each other, huddled together.
So this is a pre-COVID shot is what you're saying.
Obviously pre-COVID shot. But the point of this was, number one, I have a lot of financial advisors on here that used to do seminars. I hate to tell you, I think the traditional seminar like this, the food seminars, they're pretty dead. But we have alternatives, thankfully. And so I ask people this all the time. Are people returning to the buffet of delightfulness that is you and your business? Are they coming back for seconds? Or are they grabbing a shrimp and leaving? I mean, what are they doing? Ask yourself that. So as again, I mentioned buffets, over the years, timeshare people and realtors and financial advisors, they relied on those dinner seminars. And I just don't see those coming back in the form that we're used to seeing them. They may come back in the form of client seminars. There may be an uptick in we invite a small group of clients and they invite their friends, but I don't think you're going to see the bad chicken dinner seminars anymore. So meet and feed is gone. Gen X and millennials are much more used to digital interaction anyway. So remember, folks, Gen X is coming up. If you're a retirement and financial planner, they are a different breed than the baby boomers. So you have to approach those people differently. I R1. Jess R1. Right, Jess? We're different. We know
This am good English. Yes, I agree.
That's right. That's right. So again, I mentioned the commoditization effect. I put that up there so you would understand that's a problem even for like dentists and doctors, believe it or not. They can become commoditized, and we don't want that to happen. So COVID-19 obviously has changed everything from, where you shop to how about, the color face mask that you're going to put with your outfit that day. It's also changed marketing. So remember these things if you can. I'm going to send everyone a recording of this because there's a lot of material here, but more people than ever say they rely on reviews and testimonials, Jess. So if you're not using reviews and testimonials, now I know some of you have legal requirements where you can't do that, but there's still ways to do it without really doing it. So 82% of people surveyed said the content of a review influenced them to do business. That's huge, isn't it, Jess?
Big. 82%.
You better watch that online reputation because people are looking, and if they see like 3 insurance agents and one has a 5-star review and the others have 3-star reviews, they're almost always going to go to the 5-star. People pay more for a better experience. So the idea that you can cheapskate your way into profits you may not have to. You may be able to offer some sort of superior experience knowing that people will generally pay more if they have a better experience. The digital transition, the Zoom generation, has resulted in people wanting more personalized. Believe it or not, here's the backlash. You'd think people would be like, I want everything digital now. But the opposite is happening. And part of that's due to COVID, people being sequestered, people being, not able to go hug their friends. So now they're looking for more personalized approaches. I don't care what you sell. I mean, I knew of a dentist and he had the most personalized, warm and fuzzy environment for his clients. All kinds of interesting things in that office. Marketers are scrambling to stay ahead of technological developments, and you still have to keep it real, right? So the first tip today, if you're writing these notes down, and you will get like I said, a copy of this, but if you're writing notes down, you want to put number 1 is switch it up. Meaning, yes, email campaigns still work. Jess, I use them all the time. Jess, you use them, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can't ignore it. I ignored it for many years, even though I kind of said I was doing it. But the thing is, you own the list. If Facebook changes an algorithm, and you shouldn't ignore Facebook or LinkedIn or any of them, but you own the list. That's
exactly.
The point there.
Exactly. That's your real estate. So email, you want to switch it up. And I will give you a few copywriting things. I know all of you that are on the call today are going to get a copy of 186 email subject lines. And, you know, I collect email subject lines the way some people collect Hummel figurines. You know, I see one or I use one that really got me good results, and I keep a collection. So I'm going to give you that, because the key to email is if nobody opens it, you will never get good results. So you have to start writing intriguing, even if you're a boring writer in the body of your email, if you can write a really catchy subject line, they will at least open it, and you have a chance of having your offer seen by somebody. So number 2 is, I've ran across this, Jess. It's kind of interesting. I don't know, a lot of you may not know Gary Halbert. He's like the godfather of modern copywriting. Look him up if you get a chance, Halbert. I learned a lot of stuff from reading his newsletters, which were physically printed newsletters. Now, the first thing people are going to say is, oh my God, have you seen the price of postage, Tammy? Yeah, I just sent a little box, and it cost me $30, and it was sent right here in California. Didn't even go out of the state. So yeah, I know postage is expensive, and you don't want to do direct mail unless you do it strategically. Really important. And that will make it more efficient and cost effective for you. But I saw this, there's a difference between a digital newsletter, which let's be honest, most people don't read them. You send them out and they might click on one thing, or if you have a coupon in it, or if you have a webinar invitation. But for the most part, it's digital newsletters, people don't read them. And a lot of that's because they're reading them on the phone. It's very hard sometimes to read a whole newsletter on your little teeny tiny phone. That being said, I mean, you still need that drip content, you know, contact with people. So I came across this idea in a webinar I went to. They call it the news separation letter, right? So not a newsletter, newsletter. And it's actually a letter in the style of just the old days when grandma used to send her yearly Christmas letter, you know, hey, you know, one of my favorite cow died, and the, you know, it's in that tradition. It's very warm and approachable. And what you do is you send this out to your top, like maybe 50 to 100 clients, the ones you really want to get business from, the ones who refer you a lot of other people. Those people, you've narrowed it down and you've got a list, and this is the hot list. And you sit down and write a heartfelt newsletter. And it can be like, hey, you know, we had a flood and this happened, and it reminded me that I didn't have enough property and casualty insurance, or what. You know, you're really subtle about what your message is, but you're trying to make them understand that you're a real human being and that you have stuff going on in your life just like they do. And I think people can really relate to you when you do this. If you want more information on any of these things, because this is an overview, and any of these things would make a webinar by itself, but get a hold of me later and I can help you if you want to put one of these together. So anyway, what it is, it's not digital. It's one page front and back. It's something that people feel drawn to read. Gary Halbert used to start his newsletters off with something like coming to you from an undisclosed location near Rockfish or whatever, and people would read that. That was one of the most popular newsletters that I've ever you know, seen. People feel drawn to read it. They look forward to seeing it. You know, like, find out more about my adventure next month, and then people are anticipating that. You want to check your open rates. This is if you send a digital copy, which I recommend. You can do both. Make sure that, you know, you see people actually opening it, because you may make some tweaks to your headlines and your subject lines. Just be consistent. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't matter whether you send it 3 times a year or 30 times a year. Just be consistent. You can be topical. It can continue a theme. Like if you're a financial advisor and you're talking about myths that people believe about annuities, maybe you only want to do one every month and dig into it. Write it like you were writing it. This is so important. If you walk away with one thing, if you're going to do a newsletter, write it as if you were writing it to a close friend, a specific person. And it will come across so much more authentically. And you want to test it with your best clients, as I said, okay? So that's a news/letter. And that's it can be a very powerful way to get people to see you as other than a commodity. Number 3, this, Jess, you'll like this one because it's just a freaky thing. You want to send paper
I like the way you
emails.
worded it.
Yeah, it's a freaky thing. Paper emails. Have you ever heard of that? Paper emails. And you go, wait a minute, it can't be an email and be paper. But yes, it can. So if you want to try paper emails, you're going to make a list of your top 25 clients. You're going to write an email, and there's lots of ways to format this, but you want it to look like an email, right? Like a Gmail, for example. You could even use your Gmail as a template, and you want to write it, but instead of sending it, you want to print it. You want to print it. So this is a client you've been trying to get for a long time. This is your number 1 referral partner, whatever this person is in your life. And you write this email and then you print it out. You fold it up and you put it in an envelope, and you can buy these stickers at Kinko, or what do they call it now? Don't call it Kinko's, FedEx, UPS store, other places you can order these customized stickers. And you want your sticker to say, here's your paper email, because 9 out of 10 of them will get opened. People are like, what the heck is a paper email? And that's how you get people to open it. This is for people that you really have been, it's the CEO of a company. You cannot get through to that person. Use a paper email. Make sure your email headlines and your content deliver what it is you're promising in the email. So if you're sending them a book, you go, whoa, I found this great free book for you. Make sure that you have, that your content matches what you're telling them. And then as I said, the stickers are really important. They're just bright red or pink stickers you stick on the outside that say your paper email is inside. So, and I've known people that have done this, and it works really well. So that's a cheap way to market, by the way, Jess. Okay, now here's something for your regular.
I love the phrasing on that, because you're absolutely right. It's intriguing. It gets you to say a paper email.
What the heck?
I heard of there's lots of variations of things like this. I heard of one variation where they it's called a crumpled up piece of paper, and it's shoved, either it's shoved into the piece of mail, and there are ways to make it unique and interesting, or even to drop off. Oh, I was hand delivering this crumpled piece of paper. Hopefully everybody's getting good ideas today and knowing how to be just a little bit different and not like a commodity, which was our
exactly.
conversation
I hope
earlier.
so too. Thanks. Yeah, there's just a million things that savvy marketers are doing that I'm trying to steal from them. What was I going to say? The thing is, you have to retool some things that you're used to doing. We have some bad habits with the call to action. Now, this call to action, it could be on your website. You probably have something like this on your website. You put it in your emails. Maybe you put it in your signature line. Call me today for a free consultation. Do you know what that is? The kiss of death. It really is. I have experimented. I have run data on it, and I have talked to other people who do email professionally. That's all they do is email. You know why, Jess? It's the kiss of death. Because number one, because people don't believe you. They don't believe it's free. And the word consultation is very, very right-brained, very clinical. And they believe that you're going to ask them personal questions, which you are, but you don't want them to think that. So you don't want to say free consultation. You want to be a little more intriguing. Like, here's some that I've actually seen, like for the call to action, complain to me, or complain to Sarah, complain to Bill. Parlay with Pam. Hey, your imagination session's coming, right? For a chiropractor, I saw is get your free aches and pains evaluation. Isn't that better? I mean, don't you think that's better than just call for a free consultation? Yeah. These are some that I wrote too, some of these. For a dentist, instead of get free x-rays, how about a smile improvement session? How about, like, if you're if you sell annuities, How about get your free interest rip-off assessment? How is Wall Street ripping you off? How's the bank ripping you off? Chat with Dan, chat with Steve, chat with Annie. I wrote one for HVAC industry was get your HVAC inefficiency evaluation. And it creates sort of doubt, like, is my air conditioner inefficient? Oh, maybe I better check it out. Maybe there's your dental drill down. That was a cute one I saw. Your life path assessment. Okay, so if you're a coach or a financial advisor or somebody that gives that kind of advice, your life path assessment. It sounds so California, doesn't it? Anyway, it's insurance evaluation instead of free consultation. Life design session. And that could be for a coach, that could be for somebody that just, a psychologist, someone like that. So again, for your call to action, whether it's on your website, in any of your other marketing, or in your email, try to be a little different and get away from that free consultation. See, that's a freebie I threw in there. It's a pro tip. This is the pro tip, right? And so in the subject line, if you're, for example, somebody does make a consultation appointment with you, right? You want to say something instead of your free consultation is Tuesday. You want to say, you want to personalize it. Mike, your lifestyle assessment is Tuesday. Or remember, Mike, you will learn how to kick the banks out of your life forever on Tuesday, March 15th. Or again, Mike, don't forget to bring your brain on Tuesday. So these are things you can do, just kind of spice your stuff up a little bit, and it don't cost you anything. So as Jess and I said, email is still incredibly efficient. It's very cost effective. The headlines and subject lines in an email, the dividers are really critical. And you want to look at open rates. Everybody looks at the open rates though, Jess. They absolutely fixate on the open rates. But here's the thing. The click-through rate is the forgotten metric in email that you really need to focus on. And if you have a good mass emailer, you will get that automatically. It will show up. If you don't, you have to be able to calculate it yourself. So you got to do math. So Ed, you can learn online. There's a lot of different places that'll show you how to calculate your click-through rate. But here's the points. And you might not even know this, Jess, that over 50% of emailers that do it for a living have they struggle with really low click-through rates. Click-through rates is basically when a person actually sees your link, clicks on it, and moves to the website, right? Goes to that link. So if you don't have that happening, they're never going to see your project, your service, your product, or any of that stuff, right? It's the metric that most marketers need to use. And the click-through rate, look at this. In the US, the average CTR is only 3.5%. That's pathetic. I think that anybody should be getting at least 7 or 8, and mine are getting 24 and 25. Just because people know, they know who I am, and they know I'm not trying to sell them something, so they click. But 70% of all readers delete emails that aren't optimized. This is something you should know. If your email doesn't look good on a tablet or a cell phone, you have a problem, because people will delete it if they can't see it, if it's too wide or whatever. So make sure that your email provider lets you do a preview so you can see how your email is going to look on an iPhone. Does that make sense, Jess?
It makes full sense. We have to pay attention to these things, or else we're just sending out junk that nobody opens and cares about.
Yeah. And this is a shockeroo, because people always ask me about like Google ads and Google, putting an ad and putting, paid Google clicks and all that sort of stuff. But I'm going to show you something, and you might want to write this down if you're the people that are on the call today. That look what gets the best click-through rate for AdWords, for Google AdWords. Look at that. It's dating, and I'm not going to say porno sites, but we know that's what it is. But it's also dating sites, and I mean, it is what it is. They call it dating and personals, but we know. Okay, let's call it by its real name. But look how high that is compared to the other stuff. So the next thing, and
Tammy, you convinced me. I'm changing the subject line for all my business emails to say naked pictures attached. What do you think?
Well, people did try that a while back, but if you don't deliver the naked pictures, people get upset. So anyway, this is good news for you. Look at the other ones. Okay, so got 3.40. The next one would be. Oops, did I go backwards? Sorry. Tema. So you look and see financial is actually high up there. So you guys that are financial, that are financial people, is there no audio? What are they saying? No audio. Can you hear me? Okay.
Oh, I know I hear you. Maybe people in the chat can just put in there if you can hear Tammy all right.
Yeah, I think it's. I hope
Add it
it.
to the chat box.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I'm hoping it's just. I just wrote. I hear you, but anybody else type it in the chat box.
Yeah, somebody
so we
said
know
that
100%.
Okay, good. So other people. So I guess this gentleman just had some audio issues on his end, and Richard, I will send you a recording. Then you can listen later. So anyway, the dating sites, then followed by the I forget what those are, and I keep doing that, and that's going to drive me crazy. I'm sorry, but basically, financial is the second one. So just so you know, financial is really high up there. Medical and health are really high. So if you work in those areas, you should be getting decent click through on that whenever you send something out. But I just wanted you to know that those are the things that get the most attention on paid ads. So if you're not in one of those areas, you may want to rethink spending a lot of money on paid ads because they may not work for whatever it is you're trying to do. Now, look at this email click-through rates. This is a good thing to know. And Tammy's going crazy with the, it's because I'm trying to move my GoToWebinar box around and I can't, I can't get it to go. But the click-through rates are the highest at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. Okay. So if you want to get better click-through rates, reconsider sending an email in the middle of the day. That's just, so another way to increase click-through rates for those of you who are doing email marketing is to make sure you have relevant content. You don't want to be sending a group of financial advisors, information on how to make strawberry jam, although some of them probably do make delicious strawberry jam. It's probably when they see, something that has a subject line of grandma's strawberry jam recipe free, probably not going to get good open rates. So make sure that you're segmenting your list and sending the right content to the right people. Again, we want to do the headlines that are dividing inside the email. They need to be catchy. If you have a long form email, you can still use those, but kind of chop them up with some intriguing content. You want to use subject lines that are very catchy. Personalization, if you can. If you have an emailer that allows you to put in their first name, it's always a good idea. This is real important. Fewer calls to action, because I get emails all the time and I try to read as many as I can just to get ideas. And I had one that had like 9 calls to action in one email. Oh my gosh.
So you're saying it should be one consistent call to action?
Yeah, 1 or 2 at the most. In other words, you can remind them in the PS, don't forget, it expires at midnight. You can do that. But it's like, if you start taking, and people put links inside these emails that take people out of the email to other pages. And that's all fine if it's all your assets, if you're taking them to your website, your YouTube channel, whatever. But if you're taking them to somebody else's site saying, look at this, so-and-so uses my product, you're also giving that person traffic. And then, you know how it is, it's a rabbit hole on the internet. I mean, somebody sends you a link and you go like, whoa, you end up, you get a link about, tires for your car, and the next thing you know, you're reading stories about, the Ming Dynasty. It's just the way it works. So you don't want people to go away from you. You want to get them trapped in an endless loop of your greatness. That's what I call it. You want them in your awesomeness. You don't want to send them to somebody else's website. It's a great way to lose customers. You use if you can, put a call to action button inside the email. A lot of people don't do this. They just put the link, or they put the link underneath some text. But we found that if you use in the beginning of the email a little button, a graphic with the link, you will totally increase your click-through rate. You want to add social sharing buttons. If you write a really good, funny email, by all means, put share on Facebook or share on LinkedIn or whatever. And using images. You don't want to have lots of images. That's another thing I see people do is they put 15 graphics in their emails. Keep it to, I would say 2 or 3, but no more than 10, they say. And 10 would drive me crazy, honestly. So keep your images, put your images there, make them provocative, make them intriguing, but don't put a lot of them. Okay, so as I mentioned, all of you who are kind enough to be with us on the call today, and I thank you each and every one, are going to get a copy. And Jess, I didn't have time to polish it up. This is my actual Word. You're getting my actual Word doc of email subject lines, 186. And what it will be is a memory jogger for you. It'll be give you some ideas. You can tweak it. You can use it as a template. It's just to get you started. And these are actual emails that have all pulled really good click-through rates and really good open rates. So anyway, number 5. Now, Jess, you're going to like this one because I bet you haven't heard this. I bet you haven't heard of this. This, if you don't get anything else out of the call today, if you can do this, there's some great things that could happen in your life. Not buying, I don't want you to buy stuff on Amazon, okay? Please. They're making plenty of money. But if you really want to find out, if you're the kind of person that wants to know what your prospects are thinking, what's bothering them, if you want to isolate problems that you know you can solve with your product or your service, whatever it is you do, go to Amazon. I have found the most amazing things on Amazon. Like, okay, and I'll show you exactly how to do it right now, okay? Because Amazon, remember, they pay to play. Amazon is very strict and it's hard to put fake reviews on there. You pretty much have to have a record of purchasing the product or service before they will let you post it. I know because I've posted a few. With Amazon, you can locate the pain points, you can locate the problems that your customers are having, and you can make your own focus group. So I'm going to show you, this is a recent one. This is a little headphone amplifier, and I bought this, and that's why I used this picture. Usually when you're looking for something specific like amplifier, Jess, you go in and you put headphone amplifiers in the search, and it will give you the highest rated ones and oftentimes the ones with the most reviewed and answered questions as well. So they rank it up there. And here's the thing. If you were the manufacturer of this and it's a competitive product, there's probably 20 or 30 different models that just Amazon has. So you go there and you go into those reviews, okay? You're going to spend some time reading the reviews that are relevant to what you do, what your product or service is. And you will just go through, and it's going to take you, maybe a couple of hours a week. You could do this, read the reviews and write down the things people liked about the product and the things they didn't like, especially if you hear the same complaint over and over again. So if you buy a microphone and you hear the USB connector is lousy again and again and again, what do you want to do if you make microphones? You want to emphasize we have the very best USB connector ever. Ours has never failed. We've never had one returned, so on and so forth, right? See what I'm saying there? And you do that also for the good things they say. What did they like about this product? And write them down. And those are the things you're going to emphasize. So it gives you so many insights into what really bothers people, what their pain points are. If you sell a service like financial advisors, you do. Here's the place I go often when I'm writing emails is I go to the financial books and I look and see what are the most popular books. And they sell a ton of financial books. So you go in there and you do the same thing. You read the reviews. Why did people buy this book on personal finance? Oh my gosh, I can't get rid of my debt. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to curtail my spending habits. I don't know how to grow my wealth. Find out, write them all down, and then address that. And sorry about the telephone thing there. I'm just so popular these days. But anyway, don't you think that's an interesting idea though? Jess? I mean, if you really want to understand how to focus your product or service.
Definitely write these things down, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, like
They're
if
liking
so,
it. That's what they're calling into you.
yeah, they're like it was Teresa Kuhn actually. I want to tell everybody Teresa Kuhn was calling, and I hung up on her. She's going to be mad, but it's like, Teresa, you're sponsoring this. You're sponsoring this webinar. You should not be interrupting it. But anyway, this is when I went on Personal Finance Quick Start Guide. Lots of interesting insights from people when you look at the rankings, the ratings, what people liked about it, what they didn't, and what's whatever is whatever's bothering them. This is when I did for dentist. Okay, when I was doing the dentist website. So Jess, I went on, and one of the things dentists tell me is, why do people keep buying whitening systems and they don't pay me to do whitening? Because whitening is a very lucrative side job for dentists, right? I mean, it's one of the it's just one of those what do they call it? Revenue points or whatever, revenue streams. And they keep asking me, why don't people? What are people doing? Why aren't they buying my tooth whitening marketing? Well, go into these different ones and you'll find out why they liked the home kit, why they liked the home kit. And, Teresa, she just never gives up there. Anyway, see, look, here's some of the questions. Because if you manufacture and people ask questions, you sell it on Amazon, you can answer the questions, but they're also very instructive, right? And you can see what bothers people. See, like this. Does it work in crevices of your teeth? Because what's happening is people are doing whitening and then they're finding, oh my gosh, it didn't get inside the crevices of my teeth. So this is something, if you're a dentist, you can highlight that. You can say, hey, the reason you don't want to use those home kits is because it won't get all of the stain out. And I can get all the stain out because I'm super dentist, right? So you see how that works. This is something you can do that costs you nothing, but it will give you a lot of data and information and everything else. So webinars and live presentations, you're on one right now. Somebody asked me, well, with Zoom, Jess, and everyone is zoomed out, everyone is burned out, do webinars still work? And here's what I'll tell them. The first webinar I did with Jess, way back, that was years ago, right? When you were still with what's his name? The first webinar I did with Jess and his then partner was 260 people showed up. I mean, not registered, but showed up. We had like over 500 registrants. Those were the good old days because Tammy was one of the only people out there doing it for marketing at the time. But now everybody and their mother, I've even seen Jess knitting webinars. Okay, how interesting is that going to be? I don't know. Maybe if you knit, it's wonderful. But the point is, it's hard to get people on a webinar today. It's not just because they're busy, it's because they have choices. And I want to thank all of you guys because you do have choices. And I know you did. And I thank you for joining me, because hopefully you'll walk away with one idea that's going to change the trajectory of your business. So webinars still work, but guess what I'm doing, Jess?
What are you doing?
What I'm doing a live one. I'm doing a live webinar right now, but I'm also recording it. And I'm also going to use a technique using where I'm getting, listen to this, with Teresa's webinar, we're getting 2 to 4 organic leads every single week by doing what I'm doing with my webinars now. So I can't go into details. If you want to know more about it, you'll have to make an appointment with me and I'll reveal it. But I use the webinars in a different way and it's working really well to get organic leads. Is the quality great? But the thing is, it's building your list. And the thing is also it builds your brand, because in search engines, I'm using a website that has a very high ranking and that will help you get found. So you can't lose doing it this way. The only thing it costs is your time initially. Okay, so you use your webinars to refine, to educate, to show people how to use your product or service the right way. You use it to refine, and then you amplify it. So this is a webinar that I did for Teresa Kuhn. It was about debt reduction. It did really well. Just with this webinar, we got like over 150 organic leads that just came to us, and we've gotten several appointments out of those leads. So it does work. It takes time for it to kick in, but again, really, really successful. So Facebook ads, our time is running to 11:48, so I want to encourage you guys, if you have questions, I may not be able to get to them all today, but you can type them in the question box, and I promise I will answer them personally. But a few words on Facebook ads. A lot of you asked me about Facebook ads. I did work on them when I was in the real estate space. And Jess, have you used Facebook ads for your stuff?
I have, but it's probably my weakest link, and I'm always returning back to that, to do it right, to work with the right person. I don't think that it should be ignored. There are ways to do it where you test out, for a week for $3 a day to kind of figure out which segment is the right segment. But it's definitely something to try out, but you want to work with someone who can do it the right way.
Yeah, it's very expensive, and there are people that do just this for you. But before you devote a huge chunk of your marketing budget to it, you really need to understand how Facebook ads work, and you need to, as Jess said, partner with the right person. But there's some pros. Obviously, you can really drill down now on a Facebook ad and target your demographic. It has the most variety of advertising units. You can put them on the right side, you can put them inside the post, you can put them inside the feed, all kinds of stuff, right? Location targeted. So that gives it a really an advantage over some other stuff you can do. It's still the largest social network ever. As people discover how much spying they do on you, though, they're jumping ship right and left. It's a trusted platform, generally speaking. If you see it on Facebook, it has some degree of credibility, and you can boost your content easily. That's something you might start off with is you'll see, like if you post something about my upcoming podcast, it'll ask you if you want to boost the post. And that can be pretty effective. But otherwise it's very expensive, okay? It's expensive. Now remember that the worst thing, Jess, about Facebook ads is that, like Google, you have fewer possibilities of getting your own leads when you post on it. So it's become a platform where if you don't pay them, I can post my webinar invitation all day long. Until I pay them, I don't get clicks. It's just the way the algorithm is designed. So if you're not interested in paying to share your content, you probably won't be able to benefit from that. So, here's number 7 though, Jess. As we said before, none of this means a thing if they don't know you exist, right? So number 7, I think, is to get found by the media. And as Jess could tell you, there's a variety of ways. Harry Abrahamson, a lot of you know Harry. He's done pretty well with the media ambassadors. That's Jess's little thing he does for is it just financial advisors, or are you doing that for everybody now?
It's really 3 categories, and these are people who want to get TV, print, and radio attention and use it to drive business. So it's money experts, which would be financial advisors and other people who can talk about money and media interviews, legal, and health news. My thought is there's always going to be those 3 categories. And really, even though I say money, we actually call that category business. So, I know there's a lot of information today, but if somebody wants to find out about this, they can head over to mediaambassadors.com, check out some of what we're doing, or apply to be in the program. It's actually a whole year of media opportunities at a very low price. Nothing is like it that's out there. And we tie it back into how do you use media to drive business. So thanks for including that.
No, I loved it because of the results that we got with Harry Abrahamson. And you know what? Teresa won't give up today.
He's gotten ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS. I think he just got think he just got the Boston Herald last week. I know there's a whole bunch of TV, so
Yeah,
there's always good
well,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, it's a good thing. And then do you still have this webinar that's over here on the right?
I do. I don't
It's an
remember the
excellent
exact
webinar.
link to get to it, but people can reach out to me and they can get in on one of the upcoming dates as well.
I think I actually Googled it and it came up. But anyway, that's a really good webinar for those of you who think you're media superstars or want to be. Now, today, the reason we had this webinar was to help you guys, give you some ideas, get you fired up about your marketing again. But it was also so that you can join our mastermind for free and get these kinds of tips and tricks and insider insights for nothing on a media platform, on a social media platform. And so if you came today and you came through me, if you go to that bit.ly that you see, and that's a whole other story, bit.ly, the whole situation with how it used to be able to personalize these to make it easy, but unless you pay them, they don't do anything anymore. So go to bit.ly, 3ARXZ4E, isn't that sexy? And you can join the mastermind through me. And we're going to be posting stuff all the time, everything from graphics to actual marketing pieces that we're using. So you can get a lot of stuff right now. After we hit our plateau, it will cost money. So I would do it now. And if you came through Jess, go there. And here's another thing I ran across. I have no affiliation with them. I'm not getting a kickback or anything. But if you are a better speaker than you are a writer, and you would really love to put your thoughts on paper, there is a great software. It's a software as a service, and it's I think the website's right down below. It's Temi, TEMI.com. It will fairly inexpensively transcribe anything in just a few minutes, and that's great because search engines not very good at looking at your videos and figuring out, you really have to have written transcripts out there if you want your videos to do better. So that's just a bonus tip for you guys that are on the call today. Just remember, I always tell people frequent lane changes. If you live in California, in certain areas, you can't make lane changes because the traffic doesn't move fast enough to even move over, so you'll have your blinker on forever. Oh, people don't use blinkers here. Who am I kidding? But anyway, frequent lane changes are sometimes required now, especially post-COVID. So you don't want to be afraid of retooling your marketing or rebranding yourself. You don't want to be afraid to change lanes because the path you are on is the right one, right? The path towards getting more clients. So don't let people define you. Don't let your clients and prospects tell you who you are. You tell them who they are. That's, you need to be in the driver's seat. So I have some opportunities, Jess. You don't know about this, but I'm also allowing people to sponsor my content if they want to. And if you've been with me long enough, I put that stuff out there everywhere. Amplify it. It goes permanent on my YouTube channel, which has been around for over 10 years. It goes everywhere. So if you want to sponsor, that's an inexpensive way to get your message out there. You'll get a full slide. Jess got all of his sponsoring for nothing today. Give me a call. That's my office number. It is Pacific time. Do not call me at 5 in the morning, please. 951-658-0492. You can email me there, and or you can join me on the mastermind and tell me you want to help me sponsor a webinar. I can also produce them for you, where you have a permanent webinar, and I can show you how to do all that stuff. That's significantly more expensive, but then you have something that's permanent. So Jess, we're coming up right at an hour. You have anything to add? And I can check some questions too.
I think people got a lot of strategies. I know you mentioned that you're going to mix in, even mention some of the PR stuff. I'll just kind of tie a bow on the PR side, and there's two ways I'm showing up in front of people, which is how I help them get TV, print, radio, and then we have this other thing which is free today, which is lead-generation-mastermind, which is a community online. But on the media side, The way media works in 2021 for you to make money and drive your business is for you to go through 3 steps. One is you need to get the media attention, but it's not enough that you did a media interview anymore. Number 2 is you need to share or celebrate what you just did. Once you amplify and you put it on social media, definitely on your website and not hidden in your computer, definitely in your email marketing, and even on the wall, like I have some on the wall behind me over there. So even if you're doing Zoom, people see it. When you do that, you get media, you need to share and celebrate. And the third one is you need a call to action so people know what to do. You need to say it in the interview so that this becomes a powerful marketing tool for you for years and years. That's how media works these days when people say, but I'm not convinced if I go on TV that my phone will start ringing. Yeah, it probably won't start ringing because you're not doing all the 3 things that you need to. Now, putting calls to action in there in the proper way that we show people is really important, and some things might happen when it airs the first time, but that's the 20th century idea of it, because you used to get out there and you had your interview show up one time. I had an interview that I did and I was milking it for 10 years because people just reacted well. I was actually a guest on The Daily Show when Jon Stewart was running it, and have been elsewhere, and I have a Guinness record for publicity. So now I show everybody else, how do you really use it to get more press? We know it looks cool on our website, and I should say to get more business. That is really the return on interviews. So I just wanted to bring that up as we close this out. I know Tammy has a bunch of links. You're welcome to reach out to me. You can either use one of those bit.ly links or go to one of the websites that we mentioned.
Yeah, definitely join that mastermind. If you can't get on for some reason, let us know, because we would love to have everyone here, because the fact that you're here means that you care enough about your business to take an hour out of your day to figure out maybe 1 or 2 things you can use to grow it. And I know everyone's on a budget these days. Look at this.
And speaking of growing things, you mentioned mullets. So
oh my
I
God,
made
Jess
sure
with a mullet.
to show you my mullet. It's not like that anymore. And I know a lot of people during COVID have let their hair grow. I knew because of this photo that
Well, you
once
should have.
was enough.
You should be like my other friend in New York, Yona Weiss, who has like the big giant beard that looks like 4 squirrels live in it, at the same time. So he just let
Only 3
he just
squirrels live in that beard.
only 3 squirrels. Anyway, I want to thank everybody here. If we didn't get to your questions, oh wait a minute, Alan pointed out that you can personalize Bitly with the free version, but I want to say, Alan, hey, I went there and it looks like they're trying to monetize Bitly a lot stronger, and I could not find where it would let me do that. So maybe I need to go back and revisit Bitly. Thank you for that tip. I want to thank everyone else for being here. Like I said, if you have questions, if you want me to do something specific for you or Jess, email me and I'll certainly pass it on to Jess. Go to his website. He's got a lot of interesting, fun content, and I appreciate him being here. Everybody else, we will see you again, hopefully on the mastermind. If not on the mastermind, then at another webinar. And if you have specific things, remember, specific questions, email me. It's right up there on the screen. So thanks, Jess. Thank you so much.
You.
I'm used to seeing you in a suit and tie, so that's kind of weird. But anyway, have a great day, everyone else. Thank you for joining me, and we will send out the link to all of you. Take care. Bye.